We've all seen the show Law and Order SVU. Well, at least most of us have. It's a special victims unit spin off of the original series, which most of our parents have pretty much seen. Didn't even know that domestic abuse is one of the social issue and criminal issue faced in the show. Now, majority of us won't be exposed to domestic abuse, but we have. One of the most prominent cases of this century was Chris Brown and Rihanna, when Rihanna took pictures and shared when Chris Brown beat her and bruised her face so badly. That's when we started getting involved. Fortunately for me, I have not experienced intimate partner abuse or domestic abuse. I am one of the few who can say that they haven't experienced it, but others have. 88% of you on my survey have put that you do know what domestic violence is. Some of you are a little iffy. Domestic violence is when there's physical, mental, and emotional abuse in a home, and also deal with an intimate partner, like a girlfriend or someone you're seeing. After my speech, you will be able to understand the signs and why domestic abuse is becoming such a big issue in this country. And you will be able to go out and see those signs and know when someone is in danger or when you yourself are in danger. In an article by Dana Garvin and Yasmin Kaufman, Home is Not Always a Haven, domestic abuse has risen during COVID-19. Because there is nowhere to go and there is no way to get out, and the pent-up frustrations from being locked in the home for 2 weeks, domestic violence has risen and calls to centers have risen. In New York State, Governor Cuomo has said that cases were up 30% ever since quarantine and the pandemic started, which means victims out there are stuck in homes and apartments where they cannot escape and face their abuser all day, every day. In an article by Dizzy and Yasin Turk, Determination of Attitudes of UV Students Towards Domestic Violence, most students feel that males are the aggressor and that males are better at hiding that negative attitude towards women and abuse. They are easier at hiding abuse and their attitudes towards abuse, which makes it harder for abuse to be recognized on college campuses. 21% of students surveyed have experienced domestic abuse by a current partner. 21%. And 72% have experienced domestic abuse by a past partner. There's a lot of fear and stigma of domestic abuse on college campuses, as most fear college campuses will not do anything and instead punish them and not the abuser. And in most cases, that's true. As seen in sexual assault cases on college campuses, the abuser is always favored more than the victim. While there are instances where the victim has won a case, most domestic abusers and sexual abusers have been able to walk free, resume normal life on campus, and have actually been able to stay on campus with no repercussions. In a journal by Fujikawa, Jordan, Marotta, Mandating Inclusion about LGBTQ domestic violence during COVID, 22 transgender persons have lost their lives this year. 22. And we are in July. Most of the victims fear being ignored and not believed when reporting domestic abuse, which means they are extremely scared to even get out of a situation because of the stigma against the LGBTQ community, and because most of what they report is not believed. Domestic abuse is such an issue today that most victims are not able to leave. While you may think that there are plenty of instances for a victim to leave an abusive situation, it's actually quite tough, because if the victim gets caught, their abuser can release a harsher, more violent punishment than before. And most are afraid to leave their partners due to Stockholm Syndrome, or they do not believe they are being abused and truly love their partner. And actually, manipulation from the abuser is that it hurts them to be called out for hurting them, not the other way around. Domestic abuse is not an issue to joke around. COVID-19 has helped risen those cases. Many women have died from being pent up with their abusers. Actually, 56% of women are an intimate partner in murder-suicide homicides. That means that is a domestic abuse situation and the person cannot let that go. Abusers use their ego, their pride, overconfidence, and a narcissism to get their way with what they want to do. It is seen on college campuses, in homes, in college relationships, and in LGBTQ relationships. COVID-19 has slowed down the economy, but it has not slowed down the situation of domestic abuse. Rihanna and Chris Brown may have been in multiple cases, but we need to remember that there is a fact that most people are not prominent like that and do not get the fame and recognition that they have. Rihanna to this day still lives in that PTSD from the media reminding her of the time where her trusted boyfriend abused her. You should now be able to go see the signs of abuse. Abuse does not always mean bruises. And if the partner is looming around and not letting a friend or someone you know leave the house or engage in other conversations, it's time to realize or see if that person is trapped in an abusive relationship. And when you go out, hopefully you can see signs through the PowerPoint, through the statistics, through everything that I've given you, that domestic abuse is real and that it's okay to seek help and it's okay to help others. If you or someone you know is suffering from domestic abuse, please take the information from the National Domestic Abuse Hotline and please get help. You are not alone.